Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's another episode of the Spartan Shadows podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris. I'm joined with my co hosts, Zack and Emmett. And today we're back with our weekly episode, updating you on all the news and happenings with MSU athletics in the past week. We had football fall camp start. We had some basketball happenings, a commitment, an offer, some visits, a whole bunch of things scheduled. And then we also got a couple of hockey commits we want to talk about. And our World Junior Showcase players showing off at their respective countries' showcases for hockey. So lots to go over. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys tuning in as always. And Zack and Emmett, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Emmett?
Pretty good. Obviously not a ton of content in terms of sometimes what we have to talk about, but exciting couple weeks just for the general fall-winter athletics group, especially I would say hockey is the one that kind of stood out to me. What do you got for that, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hockey, a couple of good commitments. We should have finalized our roster for next season with this last pickup. We can dive right into hockey to start since there's not a whole lot to talk about other than the commitments. But we have Cole Burke committed for the season next year. He is a forward. Most recently played in the HL for the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. He's going to be kind of a grinder, a glue guy. He's a little bit older, 21 years of age, and he's from Michigan. Measures about 6'2", 180 pounds, but he will be a guy, may not see, every game playing time, but he will, when he's in the lineup, he's got some good leadership qualities. He was the captain for the Ice Dogs and Fairbanks, and then just kind of one of those guys who will stick his nose in and work hard, and one of those team guys you're absolutely going to want to have in the locker room. So good piece to round out this roster with. I don't know if people were really expecting another home run, like top tier commitment, but there's just not that many of those left to go around. So I'm more than happy with somebody like Cole joining in and giving us a little bit of an edge and a veteran presence in the room and a hard worker. So good to see us pick him up. And then we actually got another commitment for the future, an 08 birth year, as they're starting to pop out and commit more. Defenseman Tyler Martyinuk. Sorry if I mispronounced that one, but Tyler is like I said, a defenseman. He's most recently been with the U17 National Development Team in Plymouth. Tyler is a fantastic pickup. He is going to be a big-time prospect in the future. Only 16 right now, so he's a couple years away from being NHL draft eligible, but he will be one of those guys that will most certainly be picked up in the NHL draft at some point. Last year for the NTDP he had 54 games played, only tallied 8 points, but he is a smart defenseman. He's a talented defenseman, and like I said, young. He'll have some time to learn and pick some things up. Obviously, Coach Nightingale is probably the person you want to develop you, so that's going to be good. Stands 6 foot, about 185 pounds right now, so getting in a strength program at MSU in the future will help build that up, and he will be a weapon for sure for the Spartans on the blue line in the futures. Couple of good pickups there. Any thoughts you guys have on both Tyler and Cole?
Well, a good thing we have Will Medlock to kind of help him get a little bit stronger in that weight room. But good pickups, obviously, like you talked about, Chris. The last pickup for this upcoming year wasn't going to be a splash. You got a guy that's a captain. You got a guy that's tough. Just kind of a guy that's going to fill in, contribute for this team. And with how much talent you have on this roster already, you kind of need someone like him. And like you said, he might not play every single night, and he might not necessarily stand out, at least talent-wise. You have a guy there that has led a team before, and a guy that can plug and play and give you minutes there. And then obviously the other pickup being more of kind of like a bigger get. You love getting these types of guys that can grow, these types of guys that do have NHL potential. And when you have one of the best, if not the best, kind of strength guy in all of hockey, it kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah, my thoughts are very similar. It's not one of those, you don't have another Martone commitment that's going to be sending you into the street screaming. But at the same time, you want that veteran leadership in the locker room, especially with how much young talent there is. This is a very, very young team. And having a guy with leadership abilities who's been with teams that are young, I think that is going to help a ton in the locker room. Just a calm presence. If you have a 2-game losing streak, knock on wood, obviously, but if you have a 2-3 game losing streak, you lose a series, you get swept, you need to have that presence in the locker room outside of just having your Trey Augustine, because you don't have that Red Savage in the locker room anymore, remember. So you need to have that guy who he can handle it. He can handle the adversity because, yes, this is a Michigan State team that's handled some adversity. We saw them get knocked out unexpectedly. Last 2 years, you could probably say they could have won the entire They could have won the entire hockey title. But you still have young guys in the locker room, and you're going to have a guy who's able to weather that storm. Just another veteran leadership is definitely something you always want in a locker room. And then as far as, development for the young commitments is honestly with Nightingale and staff, if they see something in it, sure, 8 points, 54 games, not flashy on paper, but if the staff sees something in him, there is a reason why he has an offer and he's going to be coming to Michigan State. And he is 1-2 years out, right, Chris?
Yeah, depending on how the next year goes, but yeah, probably at least 2.
Yeah, so you're not talking an immediate contributor, and there is definitely a lot of room to develop physically, develop mentally, and develop his game of hockey by the time he gets onto campus. Fall 2027, maybe stretch fall 2026.
Yeah, and like I said, he's an 08 birthday, so he's already just a 16-year-old. He's younger, but he's even a young 08 birthday. His birthday is December 31st, so he's literally the last of the 08s, and that's just how it goes. He'll take some time to develop. Tyler is, like I said, he's currently, I think, a 3.5-star prospect, looking to get bumped up to probably a 4 at some point. I don't know how much higher he'll go. You do see half stars in hockey, but yeah. So, like Zack said, Coach Nightingale and Will Morlock, they're the ones you want developing you. So I can see why he wanted to come here and get that extra work in for the future and for his long-term goals. So congrats to both of them. Happy to have them. Last bit of hockey news. Like I said, those Spartan commits that are currently at their country's World Junior Showcase tournament they've been playing really well, actually. Eric Nielsen, Riker Lee, Shane Van Sage, Caden Lindstrom, Porter Martone, all have been playing for their respective countries and representing well. Riker Lee is standing out really well for the Americans. He's getting a lot of rave reviews. Caden Lindstrom's had a few really great games. He actually scored again today. I forget who Canada played, but they blew out whoever they played. Eric Nielsen scored again today. He's had a few goals. Porter Martone's obviously been lighting up the lamp too. Good representation and a strong showing from the Spartans, and I assume all 5 of them at least are probably going to make the roster. We'll have a couple of games in late December, early January that we may be a little shorthanded for. So, but that kind of comes with the territory, and you see that pretty much every year. It's kind of what happens when you've got a stacked roster. But happy for those guys and getting the chance to represent their countries in Canada and Sweden and the U.S. Congrats to all of them and keep tearing it up. Moving on, we'll head over to the basketball front, and we'll end with football like always. Basketball, some news we had. We did get a commitment this past week, actually the day after we recorded our last episode, and the day this was going up. So that's just about how it works in our world. But MSU did receive a commitment from guard Carlos Medlock Jr. We had mentioned last week that he had picked up an offer and that AJ Hogard was thrilled about it. Didn't take long. He called Tom Izzo, and like I said, the day after we recorded, and said, "Hey, I know you've been looking for point guards. Don't keep looking. I'm your guy." So he committed, and we're excited to have Carlos. He is currently with the Link Academy in Branson, Missouri. Yeah. Originally from Michigan, I know, but he is a composite 4-star on the 24/7 rankings, and the regular 24/7 rankings, he's the 98th ranked player in the country. So good pickup. He's been a little under-recruited just because of his size. He's only 5'11" as a point guard right now. I don't know if he's got another growth spurt in him while he's in high school. He stands 5'11", 165 currently. Has a really good offensive game from what I've looked at. I'm pretty excited about the potential there, but he definitely has the prototype and the mentality to be another good Tom Izzo point guard that's going to, maybe take a couple of years of work to put everything together, but I can really see him being that next prototypical Izzo guard if things go well, and the transition from Jeremy Fears to him, and then potentially maybe in the future Martyinuk Cleaves Jr. That would be just kind of an awesome three point guards to maybe finish a spectacular career for Tom Izzo. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but the plan's there to get some Izzo guards in, and Carlos definitely fits that. So, guys, your early thoughts on Carlos Medlock committing?
Yeah, no, this is a get that I think MSU fans should be really excited about. Like you talked about, Chris, he's a scorer. He likes to score the ball. He's a guy that's going to be able to hit shots from the outside. We've seen that he can get up a little bit as well, even though he's 5'11", he's athletic. He can get up, which is obviously extremely nice. And at the same time, it's going to be kind of interesting to see the transition or what really happens between him and Jeremy Fears as well, because I think we're all forgetting that Jeremy Fears has that one extra year. So are they going to be able to play both of them next to each other? We've seen MSU go really small. I don't know if MSU has gone that small before in the two guard positions, but it's definitely possible. And also the biggest point of this all that we haven't even mentioned is that, guess what? Tom Izzo absolutely shoved Dusty May into a locker and said, "You're not getting my guy. This is my guy." It's about relationships. It's about building that culture. And you know what? You can hand out as much NIL money as you want. Guess what? I got my guy, and we got him the and we got him after you offered him a day later.
Yeah, and then building on Medlock, I think it would be interesting to see if you have that Fears Medlock combo for your guards. It would be super small ball, but I do think they complement each other really well. Medlock is more that a scoring type right now, at least in high school. Nearly 25 points per game at Wayne Memorial as a junior, 21 points in the summer leagues. So you see him more with that scoring dynamic threat. He still passes the ball off, but with that scoring threat at any point, and then you have Fears and his assist numbers that he racks up like there's no tomorrow. I think that's a very intriguing combination. Obviously, when you have 5'11" and 6'1", that is going to become a concern. But overall, I do think that you can see those two definitely flourish together if you get the right matchup, right look. Both Fears and Medlock both had fathers who played in the MAC. Fears' father played for Ohio. Medlock's father played 4 years, 108 starts for the Eastern Michigan Eagles in 2008 to 2010. I think 06 to 10. So you just see that basketball experience and then them taking it up to that Michigan State level, which is something you love to see. Going to be interesting to see how he pairs in Link Academy in Missouri. Speaking of that, we actually offered one of his new teammates at Link Academy, 5-star center Ethan Taylor?
Yep, and that was going to bring my transition right into the offers. Izzo sent out a couple new offers, 5-star center Ethan Taylor, who is teammates with Medlock at Link Academy, and then fringe 4-star, 3-star power forward Jalyn Collingwood, who's from DC area. He goes to Sidwell Friends School. 24/7 has him as a 4-star. The composite rankings has him as a 3-star, but a 91 overall. So it's like that weird. He probably should be a composite 4-star too. We'll see if that bump comes up. But Collingwood, he's a power forward, small forward. He's 6'5", about 190 pounds. Another good game offensively for him. Both of these players were going to have some work cut out for him because Tom's a little late to the party on both of them. Maryland appears to be the front runner for Collingwood. I don't know if he's necessarily interested in staying home, but he obviously has some sort of potential to want to do that. He also has other offers from Mississippi State, Arizona State, Boston College, just naming some out there. So that'll be an interesting race. And then Ethan Taylor, he's a big prospect. We'll just say that. He's 7 foot, 245 pounds. He is a 5-star composite and is listed as the number 1 center on 24/7's composite rankings in the country. So he's a big deal. To get him would be pretty outstanding. That'd be one of the better recruits Tom Izzo has gotten in a while. We'll just say that. He has a whole slew of offers. Most notably, Kansas seems to be in the lead, but again, who knows how close to even making a decision he is on that. He doesn't have any official visits set up as of right now, and Collingwood does have one with Mississippi State set up. So we'll see if MSU can get officials, maybe get them on campus. If they can get them potentially during grind week, that would be great, especially Taylor, maybe around the same time as Medlock is coming in with his teammate. Medlock, I believe, is still scheduled to come in on grind week. They can get those two in during grind week, that'd be huge. And, pair them up with some of the old MSU superstars and see what we can do. But those two big time offers. And they did also lock in really quickly an official visit with Julius Event, another power forward, 6'8", 200 pounds, 4-star. He is from Bergen Catholic School in Oradell, New Jersey. So he will be in the week of the first football game, I think the weekend of the Western games.
Yep.
So one official visitor coming to campus for a football game. The other two, hopefully we can get them on campus, but 2 big-time offers going out. Guys, elaborate.
How tall is the center again? One more time?
7 foot.
Tom Izzo recruiting a 7-footer. Breaking news. That is
the
a
Powell
new
was
one.
7 feet.
What?
The Powell was 7 feet last year, for the record.
Okay.
And he
out of high school. 7 foot out of high school. How's that?
7 foot
Speaking
out
of the
of high
Powell,
school.
quick shout out to him. I believe he got named to the Polish national team, or
yeah,
it was
something
there. Yeah, quick shout out to him. Second off, Collingwood is an interesting case in terms of recruiting, because yes, he has that visit locked into Mississippi State. Chris mentioned the Maryland interest as high. The Maryland one is very interesting just because Maryland has switched staff this year.
Yeah.
I believe he has not been re-offered by the new staff. Not sure if he was even offered by the old staff. Regardless, he does have, according to 24/7 Sports, he does have interest there, but not sure about the offer status or anything along those lines, just because you have new staff, you have a whole lot of moving parts with Maryland. Granted, I feel like almost any of us would be thrilled if our hometown team offered us, so always something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention, Zach?
I'm good.
All right. Well, then we'll...
Train derailment.
No, you're good. We'll transition away from basketball and follow up with football. We'll end with Emmett giving his week 1 camp takes, because he has been on campus in East Lansing, representing the website and the podcast pretty well, with some awesome pictures with our friend Giroux. I didn't want to mispronounce his last name, so I wanted to make sure we shouted him out. Go to our Twitter page and Instagram page to see those great photos that were taken by him this week. And then Emmett's been down there at the press conferences and the practice, and then he brought Matt Eichstead, another one of our contributors, with him for some press conferences the other day. So he will give his week 1 camp updates here. We'll probably end with that. Other 2 football news and notes. We have official offers go out for the 2026 class today. All these players that have committed and been offered by MSU. Yes, we have verbal commitments, but today is the day, August 1st, which is when we're recording this, is the day the actual offers get sent out. And we're talking about the letters that will eventually be signed and sent back by the commitments that come here. So the official offers are out. We're getting closer and closer to the signing day stuff. But the other news and notes, not totally MSU related, but directed to MSU. My alma mater, unfortunately, in this scenario, I do love CMU, but they definitely dropped the ball when it came to the Connor Stallions thing. The NCAA officially served the CMU with its findings and stuff for the Connor Stallions investigation. So they have been notified of their allegations and have, I think, up to 90 days to officially respond. So any back and forth on the interwebs between Michigan fans that wasn't Connor Stallions, it was Connor Stallions. It's been officially confirmed. Not that it wasn't already confirmed anyways. Yeah, it's...
Now you're agreeing with the NCAA, not a couple of yahoos on a podcast.
Yeah, so this is the NCAA has said, you guys did bad, and here's what we found. But I will say, just CMU did already fire the quarterback, was a quarterback coach that was connected to bringing Stallions on, and then obviously Jim McElwain resigned at the end of the season last year. He didn't officially give a reason, but we all kind of have an idea why that was probably. And then a lot of that staff has been removed, and the new staff with Matthew Drinkall is in now, Coach Drinkall. So anyways, the CMU serve official offers going out today. You guys want to touch on that before we turn it over to Emmett for his camp findings?
I just want to say it's not a surprise. We'll see what happens in 90 days once they respond. It'll probably take longer to actually get an official decision because it turns out the NCAA likes to take its little time when it comes to these type of stuff, but not really a surprise. We'll be interested to see how this kind of deals with the relationship between MSU and CMU. I know, obviously, like you talked about, Chris, it's a new coaching staff, so it's not the staff that they brought in. But I know there's some people on Twitter that have been asking for CMU to provide MSU the money back that they paid. Do I think it goes that far? Possibly. Jay Batt hasn't really ever said anything regarding it. I'm sure he'll probably get asked a bunch of questions regarding it. Will the CMU game in 2027 be played? I had to guess probably not if I'm MSU. But again, I'm not the AD, so I don't make the decisions. But yeah, it's just, I think, something everyone knew. It's just the detail and like how much in depth it goes. I don't think anyone still knows. But like it happened, and CMU is going to get what it will get because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. My honest thoughts on that are, I know that there's a lot of, he was doing it to cheat for Michigan. I honestly do not think there was much of a tactical advantage there to cheat for Michigan. Michigan State that year was not going to beat the then asterisk national champions, Wolverines, that season. Even with Mel Tucker, you might have had, say, 42-21 game at best, I would say, assuming the Spartans completely healthy, no sign stealing, and you have a complete unified coaching staff. You might see the Spartans keep it within 3 touchdowns. Personally, I would be surprised, but it's something that would happen. I think it was more just he had buddies who used to coach with Michigan, and he decided he wanted to do it. Sure, he had the recording glasses or whatever, but this was more of a doing it for Central and doing it to embarrass Michigan State as opposed to doing it to help Michigan, in my opinion. Sure, Michigan probably might have gotten a little advantage, but it's negligible considering where the Spartans and Wolverines were at that year, in my honest opinion.
Yeah.
And then, as far you can go, Chris.
I was just going to say, for me, being one of the few CMU guys in MSU Twitter sphere and the MSU world, I honestly don't know what's going to come of this either. Is money going to ever be paid back?
I hope so.
I honestly hope so too. I honestly hope something does, but I don't know if it ever gets that far. I could definitely see the game in 2027 being canceled and the series being suspended for a little bit. That should probably happen. Like, obviously, CMU did something that's not right, so there needs to be some sort of consequence for that. I just don't know if checks ever get cut, maybe, but a series suspension probably is going to happen. I would think. I would definitely start there if I was Jay Batt. But, we'll see. MSU doesn't really need to play CMU. There's no advantage for them to do that. It's normally something they do just with the universities in the state to help, help them. So if I was MSU, I'd just say, no, we're done for a little bit and see what else can come from that. But
so just quick notes on the Simu thing as well as official offers, just quick blurb on that. For the Central Michigan, the main reason why I think it should be paid back is because Amy Folan's signature is on that paper for the 50 authorized personnel to be on the sidelines. So either, in my opinion, Amy Folan pays the money back or Amy Folan resigns. I think that should be I think that's the hardball that J-Bat should play with Central Michigan. Either you're paying the money back or you're getting a new athletic director, because that is kind of what it comes down to when you're allowing that to happen on your own on the sidelines in Spartan Stadium, because you're having a staff member willingly give up a pass to smuggle in Stallions. That's beyond doing anything to win. That is outright hitting the cheating phase of it. And then the other note I want to say on the official offers getting sent out, it is worth noting the Spartans did at least have DJ Ba, a defensive lineman currently committed to Wisconsin. He did post that he had an official offer from the Michigan State Spartans today. So they're still at least pursuing. Not sure how much mutual interest there is there. They were one of the first Big Ten teams to offer him, so just something to monitor. Obviously, they offered a defensive lineman out of Florida, whose recruiting then blew up with Florida, Miami, and Syracuse all offering within the next 2 days. So Spartans are still looking at defensive interior options for their upcoming class. Now, to the part that everyone's been waiting for, the Week 1 training camp updates. So overall, the media, me, Nolan, Ben Shadle, on Tuesday, we all got access to the first 15, 20 minutes or so of practice. No scrimmages, no official live plays against each other. Obviously, the players aren't even in pads yet. Pads come out Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So that is So it's really just a lot of timing you're seeing, stretching, then just drills and warm-ups, trying to get basically get good media shots just for the players for article writing, as well as seeing who's looking good, and just terms of, what players look like they're improved, what players look slimmed down. A couple notes from what we've heard also through press conferences. Charles Taplin, wide receiver freshman, standing out, made a couple explosive plays. Rod Bullard is standing out. Omari Kelly called him extremely quick. Then you have Mike Schembieler. This is not a player who's been shouted out by the coaches or other teammates yet. But just from my observations, from Nolan's observations, Mike Schembieler has added about 10 pounds and looks like a defensive lineman. He looks like he's going to be a space eater. Derek Simmons is the main winner from Week 1. From everything we've heard from the coaches, Simmons is just a guy that got shouted out by Coach Smith directly and said he looks like a whole new player compared to how he looked in spring ball. Offensive coordinator Brian Lindgren shouted out Jace Clarizio. I know he's a very popular name that everyone wants to see do well. Everyone wants to see the East Lansing kid be a star in East Lansing with Michigan State. And after the second half of spring, from what's been said multiple times, that is coming true. He is looking like a great running back from what we've heard, and they have discussed potentially in the future moving him out to a kick returner, punt returner, getting to have him have the ball in space. Right now, they want him to maximize the tools in his shed in the backfield before they consider that. So he is a player that right now, he was not mentioned as a punt returner, not mentioned as a kick returner, but is getting better every single game, every single practice at the running back's position. Matt Golban, Luka Binkic, and Brian Lindgren all shouted out Chris Phillips for attacking his rehab and looking really good. A junior lineman played the entire season opener last year against Florida Atlantic. One of the last plays of the game, suffered an injury and did not get to play the rest of the year. Apparently he looks just as good as he was heading into that Florida Atlantic game. Has slimmed down a couple pounds as well, even from the spring. So looking like he's able to be more of an agile guard, which you might need based on how the camp roster falls. By that, I mean Jay Coyne, the fullback for Michigan State in I-form last year, as well as goal line, is now listed as fullback tight end. He was working out with tight ends, which not surprising because where do you really slot a fullback when you're doing just positional drills? But that is just something to note because of when you have someone listed fullback tight end now, you might see that shift away from I-form. This is just my own speculation, no sources, no anything like that, just my own speculation that you might see Michigan State really do away with that I form they had last year, which, in my opinion, was not overly effective on the field in the first place. Injury updates: as far as we know, Jonathan Smith has said that no players have a season-ending injury, and any players that have been held out, we are not privy to disclose information. But any players that are held out that some of them are out for an abundance of caution. So that is good news that you might see a player perhaps miss a game or two, perhaps miss some reps and slide down on the depth chart, but you don't have anyone who you're going to be wondering where they are all season, like we had, I believe, a couple years ago I know last year Avery Dunn was the main one that the entire year you're wondering where he was, played like 5 reps against Ohio State and was never seen again. So that we know of, there's no players on the official out for the season or looking like they're not going to play at all. Obviously, that can change. Obviously, that we probably might gain an injury or two when the pads come out. Football is a physical game. But overall, that is just the main update we really have. It's just that injuries, are there players who are banged up? Maybe a little, but we're not expecting to see anyone completely miss a year of college football. And then, honestly, quarterbacks, Alessio Milovojevic's stock is rising every single time the staff talks about him. One thing I noted, and I was talking to Chris and Zack before the podcast, was that the staff did not outright say that Milivojevic will not play any this year, which compared to last year when they were asked about Tommy Schuster in a similar situation after the spring game, they're asked, hey, do you look at potentially playing Tommy Schuster for every third series, or a little bit like they did with Aiden Childs at Oregon State in 2023? Jonathan Smith said no, Schuster is just a backup. Lindgren said, I don't know if they'll be playing Milivojevic like that. However, he also said to ask quarterback coach John Boyer when he's available to media. So we might get the outright no at that point, but it's just something to note that they've been saying, hey, he looks really good, and he has an active arm, he makes plays, and they didn't outright rule against it. So just something to write down in, your pocket depth chart, that they're not ruling against having him on a series or two. But obviously, this is today was practice 4, practice 5 for Michigan State football. You probably will see the depth chart start to separate out a little more. Yeah. And that's really all I got. Aiden Childs, even from the spring, looked a lot more fluid, a lot more dynamic. Probably has a lot more timing now with the receivers, when his only returning receivers in the spring were Alante Brown, Nick Marsh, and Jack Yannichuk, and Grant Calcagno. Obviously, he has quite a few more returning receivers this year. So that's just, a few more returning receivers in terms of players he's been with all summer. Last note I really have is that this team, everyone is talking about how unified the team is, how everyone's eating together, everyone's working out together and all in that same goal, which that stands out to me. We heard a decent amount last year, not a ton, about team unity, just saying that it's more enjoyable than it was during the Mel Tucker regime. But that was about it. This time we're hearing a lot about team unity and team bonding. 70-plus returning players this year. I definitely can see why you have a lot more bonding between the team. Super excited for this fall to start. I'll stop yapping now and let Chris and Zack offer any final thoughts.
Go ahead, Zack.
Yeah, no, you love to hear those comments. You love to hear those things. You love to see just kind of the improvements, just like the getting stronger. You love to see the coaches, especially with the backup quarterback position, seem to have a little bit more confidence there. You love to see Aiden Childs get better. You love to see the shout outs for like Derek Simmons. These guys that are going to be huge, important guys, especially on the defensive line with Derek Simmons, as we've talked about the defensive line and how much they weren't able to get pressure last year. So hopefully, like a guy like Derek Simmons or some of the guys that they brought in, or maybe even like the secondary is a little bit better as well. And the linebacker, I know you didn't talk too much about the linebacker room, but that's going to be probably on the defensive side, probably one of the most like important positions and depth positions that this team has. So love seeing that. And then obviously offensive line. We talked a lot about offensive line in the past as well. Having offensive linemen that one have experience, but two, like Christian Phillips getting praise coming back about his rehab. You have the transfers coming in. It seems like the coaching staff's going to want to run the ball more this year. So the offensive line is going to be a huge proponent of that.
Yeah, a couple quick thoughts too. Now that that jogged my memory a little. Big spicy quote by Luka Binkic, the transfer offensive lineman from Oregon State. When he asked the reason for transferring to Michigan State, he was outright frank and said, "Listen, I gave Oregon State another shot in 2024, and I wanted Coach Mahalchek. I wanted Michigan State to give me a ring because I didn't feel like I was pushed enough by that staff." Well, not necessarily by the staff, but he didn't feel like he was pushed enough. And then with the Oregon State moving to the pseudo Mountain West, still the Pac-12, but heading in those teams, he felt like he wanted to be pushed more. So that is something, that was a big spicy quote, would be the elephant in the room without addressing it. And then one last note before I pass it over to Chris. Aiden Childs, just as a whole, a lot more poised with the media this year. He was just a lot more calm and felt a lot more calm and in control, and a lot more just of that quarterback that isn't going to give you a spicy quote. He's not going to give that bet the over quote that he did last year. So I feel like Aiden Child a lot more ready for the media, he has a lot more expectations for himself and is a lot more used to that starting quarterback, that QB1 mindset. And I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think it will pay off extremely good on game days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys pretty much covered it all, so I won't really go over anything. I think it's huge that players are relatively healthy. That's my biggest takeaway so far. Hopefully it continues. Pads on will be a little bit different. You'll see some guys get banged up, but hopefully we can stay relatively healthy entering the season. So last little bit I want to throw at you guys, and then we'll be heading out there. Just of note, Jordan Hall was nominated as player on the 2025 All-State Werfel Trophy watch list, which goes to college football's premier community service inspiration, I guess. Somebody that does a ton for the community. So congrats to Jordan. And then, of course, punter Ryan Eckley named to the Ray Guy watch list, which is the award that's given out for the best punter. So congrats to them. That's all we really had today. We will wrap this one up, and then this should hopefully be coming out to you guys tomorrow, which would be Saturday. Give you the weekend to prepare before camp next week. We'll have some more news and notes as Emmett sees them. And then we'll also have our next mini episode coming out at the early part of the week, which I believe we are going to break down the, receivers? Okay. Yeah, receivers and tight ends. So pass catching unit is up, and you guys will have that little mini episode first part of next week. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Any questions, comments, concerns, hit us up. We'll always try to do our best to either get those answered on socials or bring it to the podcast and discuss it for all of you. Other than that, have a great, safe weekend, a lot of fun, and go green.